What is going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Happy Monday. It is great to be with you all. I am Lawrence Henderson. I am the VP of Plans and Professional Development for NAAAHR-Atlanta, and we have a special live with the presidents of SHRM-Atlanta, Miss Akilah Charlemagne and Mr. Troy Felder. What is going on, y'all?
Hey, good morning.
Hey, good after. Well, I was about to say good afternoon. It's still morning. Good morning.
Hey, that's in the life of presidents, it probably does feel like a full day's work already. And so before we get rolling, I want to introduce you both to our audience. So we'll start with you, Akilah. Who are you? Where are you? And who are you representing today?
Oh, thank you, Lawrence. Always a pleasure to see you and see Troy. So, Akilah Charlemagne, I have the pleasure of serving as the president for SHRM-Atlanta, but I've also been a member of NAAAHR and a past board member. So both organizations very near and dear to my heart. In the daytime, I am a HR business partner director with Cox Communications. So really excited to be here. And I'm so excited about SHIFT coming up in just 2 weeks.
Ooh, buddy. Yeah, we're going to get deep into what all that means. Mr. Felder, introduce folks. Who are you? Where are you in the world? And we'll get rolling.
Awesome. Thank you, Lawrence. And good morning again, Akilah. Troy Felder, President and CEO of NAAAHR-Atlanta. Very similar to Akilah, I have worked very closely with both organizations, being active in SHRM-Atlanta and in NAAAHR since about 2014 when I first moved to Atlanta. Started as a member, joined the committee, and then have progressed within the board as co-VP of Plans Professional Development, SVP, and now I've been the president for the last a little over 2 years. I feel like that's a day job, but actually what I do by day is I'm a HR business partner with McKesson Corporation, supporting medical surgical supply distribution from a field ops perspective. Happy to be here. Looking forward to SHIFT in 2 weeks from today.
All right. So that is what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about SHIFT. And from both of you who have been longstanding volunteers and leaders at various capacities in both organizations, what in the world is SHIFT? I'll let you take that, Troy. You started, then Akilah, you jump in.
I don't mind starting it off. I know I was, both Akilah and I have served on the planning committee for SHIFT, but I know I was on the original planning committee in 2018. And so I remember us meeting over in Marietta. A dear friend, oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank on her name. We used to use her office space. Akilah, you may know who I'm speaking of. We used to use her office space over in Marietta. And I remember us whiteboarding it. And, when I think about those that were on that committee to start, I can't help but think about our dear friend Leon Staples. I didn't want to go more than a minute without mentioning him, but he was the one who had the best handwriting, and he whiteboarded all of our thoughts and ideas. And SHIFT was birthed as an acronym initially. Start having intentionality and focusing your talent is what that originally came from as an acronym, but it really focuses on those that want to pivot into HR. Those that may be unemployed and don't have a current HR role, or maybe you're underemployed. And so we really try to address those different focus areas, also try to address them within different career levels, as an associate level, as I call it, as opposed to entry level, mid-career, and then also executive. And so there's going to be a little something for everybody when it comes to SHIFT.
Thanks, Troy. Yes, we have to remember our good and dear friend Leon Staples for sure. We were joking earlier, so we'll try to bring our best inner Leon as we're meeting today, because he promoted this event, this conference so well. When I think about SHIFT, I've dealt with all of the components that we try to harness for SHIFT, right? So pivoting into HR, right? What does that even mean? Being new or returning back to Atlanta and trying to navigate the Atlanta job market, looking to grow your career and advance from an HR perspective. So, I've certainly had all of the transitions that we really try to embody for SHIFT. But when I think about it, it's just really about self-care, right? So as I think about, so within SHIFT, within SHRM-Atlanta, it actually sits under our HR, helping HR. So shout out to Adrian Williams, who's our chair there. And, we realize that we really need to take care of ourselves as HR professionals, right? Oftentimes we're taking care of the employees that we support, and that's great, but we have to be able to take care of ourselves in order to take care of others. And so really we recognized that there was a need for us to really focus on our HR professionals, provide it as a source of self-care, right? Professional development is a source of self-care, right? And being able to do that and to, pour into people, like some of the things that I've learned later in life, right? If I was just starting out in my HR career, or even when I first graduated from college, gosh, if some of the things I've learned in the last 5 to 10 years, had I known maybe the first couple of years out of college, who knows where my career would be at this point. So it's really being able to give others a leg up, share wisdom, hear from thought leaders, connect with one another. I found accountability partners through NAAAHR and SHRM-Atlanta that have helped me, whether they've become mentors, friends, advocates, just saying, hey, we know that you're going through some stuff, but here's some advice to help you and make it easier. So I know I just said a lot, but that's really what I think about SHIFT. That's really what I've gotten out of it, but also what I know that the amazing speakers who give their time, that it's almost like a group coaching session, right? You got the amazing speaker that is imparting their wisdom, but you also have the people in the room that also share some really great nuggets of wisdom.
Yeah, and it's amazing, and it's funny. Both Akilah, you and Troy keep using the word, because it really is about that. And kind of the first word that bears, I believe, some kind of content behind it is, what does it really mean to shift? A lot has happened over the last several years, and as HR professionals, we have come into this season of life for us all needing to shift our ability to engage well and be what the organizations need us to be, but also that professional who is shifting into the HR career field. So Troy, from where you sit as a senior leader within your organization and understanding the career field, what does it mean to shift yourself into being what this new season needs you to be?
When I think about where we are, it's been referred to a couple different ways: the great resignation, the great reevaluation, the great reprioritization. These are all terms that I've heard. And what I think about oftentimes is, even before we got to that stage where we were in 2020 into 2022, is that there was already, and this is a quote, there was already a pandemic of burnout. And that's where we were. So that's why I really appreciate what Akilah just said around self-care, and how this can be an opportunity to find individuals, find tools and resources to apply that for yourselves. Because in order to go into the business place, in order to serve on a nonprofit board, quite frankly, you have to make sure you take care of yourself first. And so that shift has to take place mentally. I think about a workout program that I've started here over the last several months. And there's also a mental fitness component of that workout plan. And so that mental, physical, and in a lot of ways, for many people, that spiritual connection, it must all be intertwined in order to be able to perform your best for your family, for your job, as well as for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Akilah, what same question over to you. What does it mean to shift in this season?
Yeah. I love everything that Troy said. I would add on, in terms of like that mindset, right? And so changing of perspectives. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know, right? And whether you learn through someone else's story or experience, that can help you change or shift your mindset, right? Because oftentimes, whatever it is that we're dealing with, we can't control the actions or the environments, but we can control ourselves and how we respond to it, right? And so whether you are unemployed or in a job transition, that can take a toll on you, right? And so being able to shift your mindset and your perspective, and maybe learn a new way of how your resume should look, right? Or what does networking mean? Why is that important? Talking or listening to someone else can help you change that mindset. If you felt that you may be stagnant in your career, right? Or maybe you're not quite sure if now's the time to take a risk. again, hearing someone's story or experience can help shift your mindset. And then you ultimately have to decide what to do for yourself. But just being able to like have that aha moment, I think there have been so many times, whether I've learned from you gentlemen or other people in the community, where I was like, yeah, I need to really rethink how I'm going about this. And being able to make those small changes can have that long-lasting impact.
Mhm. Yeah, it's amazing. Again, thinking about, from our seats, like what we've had to become, right? What we've had to grow into and grow through over these past couple years as HR professionals. Like that's why I love conferences like this that are really digging in on not just, everybody high five and hugging each other, but we're really digging into, okay, what do we need to be? And that's where, again, I love the part in our speakers and our keynote is really going to round out this thing around, okay, what does it really mean to develop into what you need to be? And of course, speaking of our keynote, shout out to Crystal D. Mills, who is the vice president of talent programming for PNC. She's going to be kicking our program off, and so excited about her coming through. But when you all just think about performing at the next level, right? We just can't, we're still trying our best to figure out the new normal based on CDC and all the rest of those things that come out. But what does it mean to perform at another level in the midst of all that's going on? Kyla, lead us off.
Yeah, I mean, I think getting clarity is really important, right? And so, as an HR leader, it's one, really ensuring that you're clear about what your purpose is and the value and the impact you bring to the organization, and then aligning that to the organization that you're either working for, volunteering with. I mean, there's a lot of different organizations we work with, right? There's the day job, we might be serving the community. You have your family, you might be leading through your friendships and things like that. There's a lot of different ways we show up as leaders, but really getting that clarity of that purpose is one. And then I think the other thing is understanding what the expectations are from whoever it is that we're supporting, right? Whether it's employees that we're supporting, whether it's senior leaders that we might be supporting, whether it's organizations that we're leading, really understanding what are the expectations, what does great look like, right? And really being able to have an evaluation of where am I today and where do I really want to be, right? I think about for many of us, we're in service, right? So we have end customers, end clients that we're working with. If you don't know what they're expecting from you, you might be delivering things that aren't effective, right? So it's really important to do those gut checks and to really find out, what do you expect of me? And does that align with both my purpose and the organization's purpose as well?
Ooh-wee, that was a word right there. I appreciate that, Akilah. And it actually made me think about when you said purpose. It was a SHRM-Atlanta event that I went to probably 3 years ago. That was hosted at Home Depot. And that was one of the breakout sessions where the gentleman spoke about the importance of purpose and how that really should tie to how you operate in your career. I work for a healthcare services company. I guess that's our transition that we're undertaking. We've been healthcare distribution. We want to become more of a healthcare services organization. And as I interview senior leaders, there's a lot of competition right now. And I've heard them speak to the fact that they are drawn to McKesson because of our purpose. It's more than a package, it's a patient. And so that's what I was reminded of. But I also, think about the importance of well-being. Think about the importance of understanding the mindset of your leaders as well. So again, I want to kind of just piggyback off of what Akilah just said and maybe add on from this perspective is, I tell people all the time, as a HR practitioner, I don't hire and fire anyone, and I feel like my role, as I kind of extrapolate that a little bit more from a strategic perspective, is to enable the business to make decisions, because I'm not going to be the one to make decisions. I'm going to give an assessment. I'm going to give a recommendation, and then I'll also offer an evaluation to see if there's a course correction that needs to take place. And so as we talk about this shift, a pivot, we talk about individuals that want to come into this function, you need to understand your role as an advisor, as a consultant. And again, those are tools and resources that you can gain. Those are connections that you can gain from attending a shift conference and hearing from those that do that type work each and every day.
Yeah, and it's amazing. Both of you have really leaned into, and y'all know I love my coaching, and so just having the ability to engage with these speakers who again are practitioners who aren't just going to be on this stage pontificating about what they read in an article or different things like that. It's work that they do on a daily basis. And so really quick, shouting out our speakers, who Cletha Johnson, who's in the chat. We got Desiree Nero, we got Tamiko Drummond, we got Tom Darrow, who will be really breaking out and engaging you all to really build out your skill sets with these breakout sessions. Again, in performance, it's not this performative thing. It's actually understanding what's expected of you. And oh, by the way, not waiting for someone to tell you what that is, but you be curious about what's expected of you. Again, not waiting through osmosis, right? Not being silent about it and just showing up, but really engaging in a meaningful way so that you know what's expected of you as a person in this career field. Because at the end of the day, last time I checked, HR folks supposed to be the standard bearer. We supposed to be therapists, psychologists, coaches, cheerleaders, all the rest of those things. And so that means this is not a bench sport. This is a contact sport where you're in the game. That's what I know HR professionals to be. Is that y'all's understanding too, Troy and Akilah? We get off the bench.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it just goes back to what I talked about, self-care. In
Mhm.
order to do all of those things, right, to play all those roles, to pivot and to shift as needed. And you may have 5 different roles you play in a matter of hours, right? We have to be able to take care of ourselves. We have to be able to have connections that I feel comfortable at any moment texting, calling you and Troy, like, hey, navigating this challenge, love your thoughts on X, Y, or Z, right? That's where shift comes in, and being able to really develop these relationships that didn't happen overnight. I mean, I've known both of you for years, but it wasn't just an instant thing. It's taken years to really develop these relationships and to be able to have people you can pick up the phone and just talk through, to really take care of ourselves mentally, because when you are pouring into others on a regular basis, you have to get poured into, right? You have to have people to remind you, like, hey, you probably need to take a step back from this, or hey, when was the last time you took some time off, or who's your mentor right now, right? All those little reminders that we know, that we give that advice to our employees. We don't always take that our own medicine, right? So it's really important to have that community that can really say, hey, Lawrence, hey, Akilah, hey, Troy, you probably want to think about this, right? They hold you accountable just as much as they encourage you and support you.
I know when I look at shift and the hashtags this year are shift, develop, perform. And so in order to do that, again, you have to take time for yourself. I think there's been a shift again, as we talk about. There's been more of an intrinsic focus for HR professionals instead of extrinsic. It's not just salary, titles, overall success. You really individuals are looking for more, and when you have the opportunity to connect, it's going to help you achieve more. And I think about, again, a stat that I heard years ago, probably at a SHRM-Atlanta event, that 73% of current HR professionals didn't start their careers in HR. I'm an example of that myself. And so by getting those tools and resources, by connecting, by networking, you're then able to do more. You're then able to have resources. You're then able to network, net weave, in order to accomplish your ultimate career goals.
Yeah, I love that. Akilah, I know you're going to say something on that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you, Troy, because it got my wheels turning again. But when I think about performance and what that means, there's the expectation, right? And we've often heard, you work hard and your results will speak for themselves. And I would challenge you, it's like, no, you've got to speak to your results and your impact, right? And I know, as HR professionals, it is so important that we understand the business and how things work. We also have to understand our role and our impact. We may not be the ones touching the customers, right? But we have to think about the things that we're doing. How does that impact the overall organization? And if you're not quite sure where to get those numbers and things of that nature, there are resources and the people you can connect with, like, hey, I've got a standing one-on-one with my finance partner. I need to understand how that works. Those are things that I didn't necessarily know starting out in my HR career. I kind of had to figure it out through time. But gosh, it'd be so great if you have someone just started the HR career saying, if you don't know who your finance person, find out who they are. So you can start developing that relationship. If you don't know how to quantify the results, let's talk through what some of those things are, to give you that leg up. Because again, those are things I figured out later in life, but being able to demonstrate that impact is a part of your performance. And it's not good enough to just say, well, I have an impact on X. It's like, well, I have an impact on X, and this is how I did it, and this is how I got to this result. Being able to speak to that is a tremendous part of performance that sometimes we don't always dig into.
Man, I'm so glad both of y'all shared that part of it, because again, as I think about what this conference is going to be, and again, getting to the grassroots of this from a shift, develop, perform perspective, it really is speaking to those things you should know, again, that inside out. And as I work with leadership clients, teams, you really do lead from the inside out. And if you aren't developing the individual in you, how can you ever believe to be a good team member? And so when we think about just what you all both just shared about understanding where you are, the spaces that you're finding yourself in, HR is shifting. How people view HR and what they believe we should be for the business is shifting. And I would tell you, the last corporate organization I worked for, the most senior HR person in the organization came from operations. And so he was the best people person in operations that they pulled in. But what that said to me was, man, all these career HR folks, why didn't they rise to that position? And it really spoke to these kind of things that you both were talking about. Did they understand the business? And I would tell anybody out there coming to this conference, sharpening your saw, if you will, in the HR space, but going back to the business and saying, hey, what do we offer here so that I can understand, a P&L, or understand, okay, what is it? What is the mentor program here? And again, not only picking an HR mentor, but picking a business mentor so that you can continue to understand the spaces that you're finding yourself in and how you can be relevant every single day. So where you're invited to the room, not somebody that get left off the invite list. And so for you both, kind of as we kind of round this thing off, your pitch, who should show up to this conference and why?
Well, I'll go first. Because I have benefited from shift, even if I wasn't necessarily in transition. If I was at a good point in my career, just being able to connect, reconnect with people I've known, but also meet some new people, right? Even as, someone who's starting out in their career, I learned from all types of people, whether they're more entry level associate, as Troy said, same level as me or higher. So certainly all are welcome. Our focus for the event are those who are in transition, right? And that could be whether or not you're in HR, you're looking to make a shift, you might be currently unemployed or underemployed. Those who are looking, they have an interest in HR. I'm like, what is this about? What does it even mean to be a HR generalist, a HR manager, HR business partner? If you're new to the Atlanta community, I always tell people, whether you're in HR or not, you need to know an HR person and a recruiter. Like, you should always, because they have a pulse on what's happening in the market, in the industry. So we're just good people to know. And finally, there is no party like an HR party, right? So, come on over, at Cobb Galleria on July the 25th from 1 to 5 and get your cup filled up. Troy and I will be in the house, as well as Lawrence. So if you don't know anyone else, we'll be there smiling and ready to welcome you. So we're so excited to see everyone in 2 weeks.
Excellent. I don't know what more I can add. I'll attempt. Again, shift, develop, perform. I think it goes back to relationships. I've always considered myself a HR business partner before I even had that title. Again, to your previous comment, Lawrence, I came from retail management. That's where I started my career. And so I had a sales mindset, if you will. And so that's how you sell, is through relationships. I continue to partner from the HR function through relationships. And so if you're someone that's looking to make that pivot, make that transition from being an HR manager, which I describe as someone that just prioritizes processes and policies to being a business partner where you understand what your client group needs, you anticipate those needs, and then again, you help enable decisions. I think Shift is going to be the ultimate place for you to come and again, develop and perform. And so ideally, you want to be able to understand what that looks like, because performance is expected. You know, that's a base understanding, is that you perform. But when you talk about getting to the level of making impact and then actually executing, that's really where you want to get to as an HR professional.
Mm-hmm. Man, both, thank y'all both so much for availing yourself, one, for this live, and again, understanding both have packed schedules. But y'all, just as both these leaders have shared with you in this snippet of time, if you want to connect in a greater way to both of these amazing organizations and to other professionals in the Atlanta area, sorry to the folks in here from Florida and all these other places, but if you're in town, July 25th from 1 to 5, we will be growing and engaging for that afternoon. And so go to both of our pages, NAAAHR-Atlanta, ATL, and we just quickly lost Akilah. SHRM-Atlanta is where the registration resides. So go to both of those pages, get registered. This is a budget-friendly conference, so that you can get what you need in this season of life and much, much more. So thank y'all again for tuning in. Thank y'all again for engaging. If you don't believe it's for you or you're not going to be in town, please share the link with your networks far and wide. We will see you all in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, Lawrence. Appreciate it.